It's Module 9, Example 9. It reads, in a test of weight loss programs, 40 adults used the Atkins weight loss program. After 12 months, their mean weight loss was found to be 2.1 pounds. So we could represent that, since it's lost, with the number negative 2.1. And it had a standard deviation of 4.8 pounds. So before I dive into the questions in the problem, let's just make sure we can sort out everything that's been given to us. So first of all, I note that 40 is the sample size, N. We're going to call negative 2.1 as sample mean. So that's the mean from our sample. So it's the X bar. And the standard deviation from our sample was 4.8. So that's S. I'm going to note that this is quantitative variable. They talk to each person and ask them how much weight loss they had, and then they took all those weight loss numbers, added them up, divided by 40, and found the sample mean weight loss. So we are interested in understanding the parameter mu, which would be the average, the mean weight loss of all adults using the Atkins weight loss program. Okay, so it asks us in Part A to use the 2SD method to find an approximation of the 95% confidence interval. So recall, to use the 2SD method, we first use the formula to estimate the standard error, the standard deviation of the distribution of sample statistics. So that will be the formula S over square root of N. That will estimate the standard error for us. So S is 4.8 divided by square root of 40. Again, we could pop that right in the calculator. So I'm going to go straight to Desmos. I hit the fraction button, 4.8 in the numerator. Go down to the denominator and hit square root of 40. And it says it's about 0.7589. For simplicity, let's go ahead and round that to 0.76. So our estimate of the standard error is 0.76, the standard deviation of the distribution of sample statistics. Our estimate on that is 0.76. Step 2, we multiply that value by 2. Remember, it's called the 2SD method because we're taking 2 times the standard deviation. So 2 times the 0.76, and you'll get 1.52. Remember, what you're finding here when you take 2 times that standard error estimate, this is the margin of error estimate for our confidence interval. And step 3, we build the confidence interval. All right, so my confidence interval, in the center of the confidence interval is always the observed sample statistic. Our observed sample statistic is negative 2.1, 2.1 pounds of weight loss on average. We then add the margin of error to that, 1.52, and we subtract the margin of error from that, the 1.52, to find the upper and lower ends of the confidence interval. Getting negative 3.62 and negative 0.58 as the upper and lower ends. So that would say that our confidence interval for mu is that we think mu is somewhere between negative 3.62 pounds up to negative 0.58 pounds. So that's 3.62 pounds of weight loss on average up to 0.58 pounds of weight loss on average. Another way to write that is with our margin of error notation. So we could say 2.1 pounds of weight loss on average plus or minus 1.52 pounds. Part B asks us to write a complete sentence to interpret the meaning of that in context. So the way we would say this is that we are 95% confident that the mean weight loss of all adults using Atkins is between 0.58 pounds of weight loss and 3.62 pounds of weight loss during the first 12 months. Part C then asks us to go ahead and use the Rossmann-Chance applet to find the 95% confidence interval and make sure that we get a similar answer. In the Rossmann-Chance applet, I go to the Theory-Based Inference app. I go to the pull-down menu and I select one mean because we are talking about X bars and mu's here. I select confidence interval. and I input the information. Our sample size was 40. Our sample mean was negative 2.1, and our sample standard deviation was 4.8. I make sure that I'm using a 95% confidence level and hit calculate. And it says from negative 3.64 up to negative 0.56. Notice that is very close to what our confidence interval estimate was when we used the 2SD method. So we had gotten negative 3.62, and using the mathematical theoretical approach, it was negative 3.64. We had estimated negative 0.58 pounds, and it gives us negative 0.56 pounds. So very, very close. Part D asks us to use the applet to get a 99% confidence interval. So all I have to do is come into the applet and switch the confidence level to 99 and hit calculate. And now it says the new confidence interval is negative 4.16 up to negative 0.04. So we're 99% confident that the average weight loss, the mean weight loss for all adult Americans on Atkins, is somewhere between 4.16 pounds up to 0.04 pounds of weight loss in the first year of use. Part E asked, is the 99% interval wider or thinner? So notice the 99% interval is wider. It goes down lower, goes all the way down to negative 4.16, whereas the 95 only went down to negative 3.64. And the 99% interval goes up higher. It gets closer to 0, so it's negative 0.04, whereas the 95 was only to negative 0.56. So it is a wider interval. And again, this is always true. A 99% interval will always be wider than a 95% interval, holding all other things constant. So part F finally then says, does the Atkins diet appear effective? So I guess there's two ways to kind of look at this. Notice these numbers, the entire interval, both 95 and 90% intervals, are entirely in the negatives. So we are very confident that it seems that the average weight loss does occur, that there is weight loss over the course of a year on average. However, if you are on a diet for a full year and you only on average lose somewhere between half a pound and 3.6 pounds, or you only lose 0.04 pounds to 4.16 pounds on average, that to me does not seem like a very effective diet. After a whole year, would hope to lose much more than 4 pounds.